going to review a book. I do loads of reading as part of my work in training and development and leadership training, and sometimes I get through plenty that I don't even remember, and then some of them really stay with me, and I let them sit for a while before I start recommending them, because I want to be sure that they're a half decent recommendation. But this one, this is today's offering here. This is called Extreme Ownership. This is by a guy called Jocko Willink and his colleague Leif Babin, and they are both Navy SEALs, or were both Navy SEALs, and they're talking about how the US Navy SEALs lead and win. And normally I'd be a little bit suspect of anything with a strong military aspect for business. I'm not saying that they don't apply. I think they apply very well, but some people don't necessarily react positively to a strong military message. However, I've read this book and I've recommended it to one or two clients and friends, and they've all thought positively of it. I'll just tell you a little bit about it first, and you can make a judgment as to whether you think it would suit you. But essentially, it works its leadership messages quite cleverly. First of all, it tells a story of battle and combat. So Jocko Willink and Leif Babin were in the battle for Al Ramadi in 2006 in Iraq. And saw very, very active, very, very difficult, very, very sustained combat in that period of time, and ultimately came away having made more of a difference in terms of regaining control of that area in the time they were there. And what they've done is they've divided each chapter into three parts. First of all, they tell you a story of the battle or a story of combat, and they just tell a story. Then they explain in the second part of that chapter the principle they're trying to bring to life. And then in the third part of the chapter, they take that principle and they tell a story about how they've applied it in the leadership consultancy that they now run with a Fortune 500 business. So the directors and the staff that are involved in that business. So they work you quite cleverly through each of these three sections. The book has got three really, really big ideas in it, I suppose. The first big idea is the kind of internal battle, so internal leadership. So concepts like extreme ownership. If you're not getting what you want from your boss, if you're not getting what you want from your clients, if you're not getting what you want from your people, if you're not getting what you want from a situation, take ownership. It's your responsibility to take ownership. It's nobody else's. There's no point looking everywhere else for the answers. It's up to you to take ownership of that problem. So the first part, the first section, is in three sections, is all about that internal piece. The second piece is the laws of combat. So it talks about how you make contact and cover. It talks about how you move over difficult territory. It talks about how you move through and along with problems. And then the third part is sustaining leadership. So it's not just an overnight, this is a challenge we're facing, we've got to get it done. The third part is all about sustaining that leadership, dealing with different hierarchies within your organization, making sure that your plan is implementable but is also constantly evolving and moving forwards. So I like it for its simplicity, and I like it for the excitement it gives by telling a really exciting story, but also then the application to our worlds which aren't military, our worlds which could be business or could be public sector. So that would be my summary of extreme ownership. If military stuff is not your thing, that's absolutely fine, and if you want a leadership book that is very practical, very applicable, then I would recommend it. And what I will do is I'll just read one short chapter, just so that you can get a flavour of it. Every leader and every team at some point or time will fail and must confront that failure. That too is a big part of this book. We are by no means infallible leaders. No one is, no matter how experienced. Nor do we have all the answers. No leader does. We've made huge mistakes. Often our mistakes provided the greatest lessons, humbled us, and enabled us to grow and become better. For leaders, the humility to admit and own mistakes and develop a plan to overcome them is essential to success. The best leaders are not driven by ego or personal agendas. They are simply focused on the mission and how best to accomplish it. So that just gives you a sort of flavour of where the book's coming from. I hope you enjoyed that. If you buy the book and read it, I hope you get some. Thanks for listening.